The quake starts, week 2 of 7th quarter subject. Science 8 most essential learning competencies. Differentiate the 1 epicenter of an earthquake from its focus. 2 intensity of an earthquake from its magnitude. 3 active and inactive faults. Where does an earthquake start? The breaking of the rocks will start at the point where the rocks are weakest. This spot where the first break occurs is called the focus or hypocenter. Hypo means under or beneath. The focus is the origin or the center of the earthquake. It is located underground. The epicenter. A point on the surface of the earthquake which is directly above the focus of an earthquake and where the earthquake vibrations reach first is called epicenter. Epi means surface. The most violent shaking occurs here. How strong is the earthquake? An earthquake may be described in 2 ways. 1. Intensity. 2. Magnitude. The intensity of an earthquake gives us an idea of how strong or weak the shaking is, or simply by describing the effects of earthquake on people or surroundings. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, PHIVOLCS, uses the PHIVOLCS earthquake intensity scale to describe the intensity of earthquakes in the Philippines. PHIVOLCS earthquake intensity scale. PHIVOLCS earthquake intensity scale. Intensity 1, noticeable to people under favorable circumstances, delicately balanced objects are disturbed slightly. Intensity 2, slightly felt by few individuals at rest indoors, hanging objects swing slightly. Intensity 3, weak, felt by many people indoors in upper floors, some people experience dizziness, hanging objects swing moderately. Intensity 4, moderately strong, felt generally by people indoors and some people outdoors, light sleepers are awakened, hanging objects swing noticeably, dinner plates, glasses, windows, and doors rattle. Intensity 5, generally felt by people indoors and outdoors, many sleeping people are awakened, some are frightened, some run, strong shaking and rocking felt throughout the building, hanging objects swing violently. Intensity 6, very strong, some people lose their balance, motorists feel like driving in flat tires, heavy objects move, wall plaster may crack, very old and poorly built structure is slightly damaged. Intensity 7, destructive, people find it difficult to stand in upper floors, heavy objects topple, some well-built structures are slightly damaged. Intensity 8, very destructive, people find it difficult to stand even outdoors, many well-built buildings and bridges are considerably damaged, landslides and rockfalls occur, man-made structures sink, tilt or topple due to liquefaction and lateral spreading, fissures and fault rupture may be observed. Intensity 9, devastating, people are forcibly thrown to ground, most buildings are totally damaged, bridges are destroyed, utility posts, towers and monuments are broken, landslides and liquefaction with lateral spreading and sand boils are widespread. Intensity 10, completely devastating, man-made structures are destroyed, massive landslides and liquefaction, river courses change, utility posts, towers, and monuments are broken. Another way of describing the strength of an earthquake is by magnitude. It is measured using seismograph on the Richter scale. The Richter scale, also called the Richter magnitude scale, is a measure of the energy released. The greater the magnitude, the stronger the earthquake. To distinguish the two, intensity is expressed using Roman numeral I, 2, 3, while magnitude uses Indo-Arabic numerals 1, 2, 3, 4. Earthquakes with a magnitude of may second or may not be felt. Those that are felt by most people have a magnitude of 4. Magnitude 6 can lead to a lot of damage in highly populated areas. Earthquakes with a magnitude of 7 can cause severe damage. A magnitude of 8 or 9 results in widespread destruction, especially near the epicenter. Magnitude, it is the energy released by an earthquake of the focus. It is calculated from earthquakes recorded by an instrument called seismograph. Intensity, it is the strength of an earthquake perceived and felt by people in a certain locality. Intensity is generally higher near the epicenter. Learning Task 1. Read the article, found on the next page about the earthquake that happened in Luzon last 1990. Answer the questions briefly. 1990 earthquake wreaks havoc in the Philippines. More than 1,000 people are killed when a 7.7 magnitude earthquake strikes Luzon Island in the Philippines, on this day in 1990. The massive tremor wreaked havoc across a sizable portion of Luzon, the country's largest island, with Baguio City suffering the most devastating effects. The epicenter of the quake, which struck at 4:26 p.m., was north of Manila in the Quake province. Reports indicate that the shaking went on for nearly a full minute. Collapsing buildings were the main cause of damage and death. Getting out of a multi-story building was a good safety precaution that afternoon, although many people were, even died in stampedes of others doing the same thing. At Christian College, a 6-story building completely collapsed, trapping approximately 250 students and teachers inside. Heroic rescue efforts saved many, but some victims who did not die in the collapse were found dead later from dehydration, because they were not pulled in time. All types of buildings, including several resort hotels in Baguio, known as the Philippine summer capital, suffered tremendous damage. Most of the city's 100,000 residents slept outdoors that evening and during the following week, afraid to return to their homes amid the frequent aftershocks. For days, workers' pulled bodies were recovered. At least over 1,000 people suffered serious injuries. Rescue efforts were hampered severely, because the 3 main roads into the city were blocked by landslides. Hundreds of motorists were stranded on the roads as well. Outside of Baguio, a chemical factory fire also caused terrible damage. The Tuba gold and copper mine in the area lost 30 work mine collapsed. Baguio, sitting on at least 7 fault lines, is now listed as one of the most risk-prone cities in Asia. In likelihood of deadly landslides. American military personnel stationed in the Philippines archipelago took part in the relief effort. The area was revisited by disaster less than a year later. Some geologists believe the 2 events were connected. Guide questions. 1. Where is the epicenter of the earthquake? 2. How many individuals are affected by the earthquakes? 3. Discuss how devastating a 7.7 magnitude earthquake is. 4. When an earthquake occurs, where would shaking be greater? Near the epicenter or away from the epicenter? 5. Where would damage be more? Near the epicenter or away from the epicenter? 6. Where would the intensity be higher? Near to the epicenter or away from the epicenter? Get ready, your teacher will call you to recite. Learning Task 2. Match the Richter magnitude indicated in column A with the earthquake effect found in column B. Magnitudes indicated in column A, while the earthquake effect found in column B. Number 1, magnitude 7, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter E, caused severe damage. Number 2, magnitude 5, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter D, felt by most people. Number 3, magnitude 2, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter F, may not be felt. Number 4, magnitude 4, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter G, furniture moves. Number 5, magnitude 8 and up, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter B, widespread destruction. Magnitude 6, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter A, led to a lot of damage. Number 7, magnitude 3, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter C, felt little by people. Hope you've got all correct. Where do earthquakes occur? A fault line is defined as a geological fracture wherein the movement of masses of rock has displaced parts of the Earth's crust. A rapid movement of a fault line may produce a powerful energy that can trigger a strong earthquake. There are 5 active fault lines in the country, namely the Western Philippine Fault, the Eastern Philippine Fault, the South Mindanao Fault, Central Philippine Fault and the Maricunbe/Valley Faults. An active fault is a fault that is likely to have another earthquake sometime in the future. Faults are commonly considered to be active if there has been movement observed or evidence of seismic activity during the last 10,000 years. Active faulting is considered to be a geologic hazard and related to earthquakes as a cause. Effects of movement on an active fault include strong ground motion, surface faulting, tectonic deformation, landslides and redfalls, liquefaction, tsunamis, and sinkers. In relation to fracking, there are theories that the fracking process can disrupt an active fault or possibly activate an inactive or dormant fault. Seismologists all over the world are actively studying areas in the world where fracking takes place to either validate or dispute these theories. Fault classifications. 1. Active faults are structure along which we expect displacement to occur. The process that produces displacement across a fault continuously. All shallow earthquakes occur on active faults. 2. Inactive faults are structures that we can identify, but which do not have earthquakes. If a fault has been active for millions of years, it's certainly safe to call it inactive. Distribution of active faults and trenches in the Philippines. Philippine map with active faults and inactive faults. Active fault traced certain is represented by red solid line, while active fault trace approximate is represented by bold red broken line. Violet colors of different shapes are trenches, faults, and collision zone. Learning task 3. Read each question carefully. Choose the letter of the correct answer. 1. What point along the fault where movements first occur? A. Epicenter B. Focus C. Intensity D. Magnitude. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter B. Focus. 2. What point on the Earth's surface is directly above the focus? A. Epicenter B. Fault C. Intensity D. Magnitude. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter A. Epicenter. 3. Which agency of the government in the Philippines is monitoring the movement of the Earth crust? A. DENA B. The C. Paper D. Volcanics. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter D. Volcanics. 4. It is a sudden movement of the Earth's crust caused by the release of stress accumulated along geologic faults or by volcanic activity. A. Earthquake B. Flood C. Typhoon D. Tsunami. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter A. Earthquake. Recite 5 things to do before, during and after an earthquake. Get ready, your teacher will call you to recite. Summary. Differentiate the following. 1. Epicenter of an earthquake from its focus. 2. Intensity of an earthquake from its magnitude. 3. Active and inactive faults. Focus or hypocenter. Hypo means under or beneath, is the spot where the first break occurs. Epicenter. AP means surface, a point on the surface of the earthquake which is directly above the focus of an earthquake and where the earthquake vibrations reach first. The most violent shaking occurs here. Magnitude. It is the energy released by an earthquake of the focus. It is calculated from earthquakes recorded by an instrument called seismograph. Intensity is the strength of an earthquake perceived and felt by people in a certain locality. Intensity is generally higher near the epicenter. Active faults are structure along which we expect displacement to occur. The process that produces displacement across a fault continuously. All shallow earthquakes occur on active faults. An active fault is a fault that is likely to have another earthquake sometime in the future. Faults are commonly considered to be active if there has been movement observed or evidence of seismic activity during the last 10,000 years. Inactive faults are structures that we can identify, but which do not have earthquakes. If a fault has been inactive for millions of years, it's certainly safe to call it inactive.